I cannot even believe how many books I have here. The book I'm currently reading right now, when I tell you, it has shocked me. My goal is to read 65 books. I have a birthday book haul for you guys. I have 21 books that I purchased in the month of January. My birthday is on January 21st, so it kind of worked out in the sense that I essentially bought a book for every single day of the month until my birthday. I have a couple hardcovers, a couple new releases, and a couple books that have been on my radar. So let's start off with the hardcovers. The first one we're gonna start off with is a small one. It's called Discipline. It's basically about a woman who ends up encountering, I think, a novel that is written about her and her terrible relationship with a professor that she dated 10 years ago. And I think she's just trying to be disciplined and not react to this and go back to their same ways. I'm not entirely sure. That's kind of what I remember when I was reading a little bit about it. So I'm really intrigued, and it also came out in January, so I really want to get to it soon. Another hardcover that I picked up in January is Workhorse. This takes place in 2001, and it's essentially kind of giving the same vibe as The Devil Wears Prada, in the sense that she's obviously working really hard to get to the top in the fashion business, and for some reason there are some people that are considered workhorses and there are some that are considered show horses, and she unfortunately falls into the workhorse category. I don't know what it's going to have in it. It's quite a big book, and I'm honestly really excited to get into it. This was a book that I did notice was not very highly rated on Goodreads. I really just enjoyed the blurb and what it's about, and I think that it'll be a fun read. I'm just hoping that it's worth all of these pages. This is another hardcover that I picked up in January before I forget. It's basically about a woman and her dad that is suffering Alzheimer's. I think in the process of going through all of this, he ends up being able to tell the future. That's pretty much what I've heard about it from online. It is also a relatively shorter book. The next hardcover that I picked up in January is The Book of Luke. This is basically supposed to be about a reality competition show. I believe the main character originally is in an earlier season of this show, and then he ends up coming back and he ends up discovering some truths that I don't think he was ready to discover yet. Been really into a lot of just like competition shows and things like that, so I feel like this is very much up my alley and what I'm kind of interested in right now. Another one is Lost Lambs by Madeline Cash. I actually read this in January, and it's in my January wrap-up that I posted last week. Really enjoyed this book. It was the debut novel. I really thought that it was super entertaining. If you're looking for an entertaining book or a book that will get you out of a book slump, this is definitely a really good book to read. I will definitely be following this author in future novels that she comes out with. Next hardcover is I, Medusa. I'm not really sure what this is about. I'm pretty sure it's about, obviously, Medusa and just what happens to her before and how she kind of becomes this like monster of a person, or as we know her as. I really love Greek mythology. It's something I've always been interested in since I was a kid, and I've read a couple romances. I just know that I will probably really enjoy this book, and I'm excited to get into it, and she has really nice sprayed edges. Another similar reality TV show-esque type of book, but this is actually made from somebody who was on Survivor. This concept is a little bit different than the one that I shared before. I believe that it's kind of similar, that this person comes back for an all-star season and they truly discover that in the end, the biggest challenge is not their competitors, but whether they're able to even escape the island. So I'm really excited. It is also like a pretty lengthy book, but from what I've seen on reviews online, people are saying it's like very readable, very digestible. So I'm excited. He's also having, I think, a book signing near me relatively soon. So if I really enjoy it, I might go to the book signing. I only have 2 more hardcovers and then we can get into my paperbacks. The next pick was Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy. I did read her memoir. She is one of the only people that I have actually read their memoir. I do not read a lot of nonfiction, and that story was very difficult to read and digest. And I just know that with her experience and what she's dealt with being in the industry, she has a very unique way of describing things and being able to pull stories. And she did say that this is not a direct book about her personal experience, but she did grab from her personal experiences and put that into this book. So I have heard that this is a book that is going to make your stomach hurt, even though it is so small. I am so eager to read this. This is one of my most anticipated reads of the year. So maybe we will do a little vlog and see my reaction to this book. The last hardcover that I picked up in January is That's Not How It Happened. This is actually written by the co-creator of How I Met Your Mother, and it's essentially about a woman who is writing a memoir about her family because she has a son with Down syndrome. So she basically wants to just like write about how it is like to parent somebody with a disability. And the dad at this point has been struggling with his screenwriting career. So when someone knocks on the door and decides to make their memoir into a movie, who better to be the screenwriter than the husband? But this ends up kind of fizzling up the family dynamic. So just family drama. I really love the representation of like a family family with somebody who has a disability, I definitely feel like this is going to be a 5-star read for me. So we'll have to see. And I'm really excited to start How I Met Your Mother now that I'll be reading a book from the co-creator. Now let's get into my paperbacks. I cannot even believe how many books I have here, but let's get into it. The first pick that I have in a paperback is Theo of Golden. This has been a book that I've seen literally everywhere, but I also really love the premise of it. His name is Theo, and he asks a lot more questions than he answers. Theo visits the local coffee shop where 92 pencil portraits hang on the walls, portraits of people of Golden done by a local artist. He begins purchasing them one at a time and putting them back in the hands of their rightful owners. With exchange, a story is told, a friendship is born, and a life is altered. A story of giving and receiving and seeing and being seen. Theo of Golden is a beautifully crafted novel about the power of creative generosity, the importance of wonder to a purposeful life, and the invisible threads of kindness that binds us to one another. Really excited. It's kind of giving Tuesdays with Maury, and so I think every story will have maybe a life lesson that we can take from it. I'm gonna do 2 in this one because they're by the same author. That is the Dutch House and Tom Lake by Anne Patchett. I have really been loving a more slower paced fiction novel. I have listened to half of Tom Lake just over the years. It's actually narrated by Meryl Streep, and I do really like the story, and I'm about like 50% in. I do want to finish it, especially because she is coming out with a new book this year that I'm really interested in reading, so I figured that it would be really fun to read her backlist while I get ready. And this is also a Pulitzer Prize finalist. I've been really interested in reading more awarded books just to kind of understand the difference and kind of like shake up what I'm reading. So I actually read this book already, and I did give it a 6-star. It is in my January wrap up, but this is another book I picked up. I really loved it. It is definitely historical fiction. If you are a fan of Kristen Hanna and you maybe don't want to read like a Kristen Hanna book, I feel like I didn't see any inspiration necessarily from Kristen Hanna or like vice versa, but I did see just a lot of elements that I enjoy in a Kristen Hanna book portrayed in this. So I definitely think if you're a historical fiction person, you should pick this up. Another book that I read in January, but also new, is The Unbearable Lightness of Being. This is definitely giving a more classic feel. If you like a classic slow book, I think this would be good for you. I did really find the parts that weren't necessarily about the plot kind of boring, but nonetheless, it's in my library now. I'm happy, and it was a cool read. It was a little switch up from what I typically read. I also picked up The Shark House. This is basically about a girl who I believe like studies some sort of like marine biology, and they essentially are kind of relying on her in Hawaii or in the island that she lives in to kind of understand why so many shark attacks are happening. And I think she's forced to kind of relive an incident that happened in her family that was a little bit traumatic for her. I just feel like it was kind of giving like Bethany Hamilton. Like, I love Soul Surfer. It was a movie that I loved watching when I was growing up, and while I know it's not the same concept, I think that I will still enjoy it because of that. It's by Sarah Ackerman. I've never heard or read anything from her, so I don't know if it's going to be good, and it was another January release. I also picked up Real Americans. I kind of picked this up last minute because I did have a gift card and I did not want to buy any more hardcover books, so I was like, what is good? What sounds good? I haven't really seen a lot of people read this, but it's basically about Matthew, and Matthew is everything that Lily is not. Easygoing, effortless, attractive, a native East Coaster, and most notably heir to the vast pharmaceutical empire. Lily couldn't be more indifferent, flat, broke, raised in Tampa, the only child of a scientist who fled Mao's Cultural Revolution, and yet Lily and Matthew fall in love. Later in 2021, 15-year-old Nick Chen has never felt like he belonged on the isolated island where he lives with his single mother, Lily. He can't shake the sense she's hiding something. When Nick sets out to find his biological father, though the journey threatens to lead only to more questions, in an immersive, moving prose, Rachel, can't say her last name, weaves a profound tale of class striving, race visibility, family inheritance, a story of trust, forgiveness, and finally coming home. Exuberant and explosive, Real Americans is a social novel par excellence that asks, are we destined or made? And if we are made, who gets to do the making? And just how inevitable are our futures? Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. I'm actually really excited to pick it up now that I know that that's what it's about. The next book I picked up is Just Last Night. I am not a romance reader, guys. Like, that's why you'll notice a lot of my books that I have in this haul are fiction, but I am, I think, 40% through this book. It's the book I'm currently reading right now. When I tell you, it has shocked me. That's all I'm gonna say. It's shocked me. I'm shocked. I can't wait to get to the end of it. I'm really enjoying it. We have another double feature, which is Crazy Rich Asians and Lies and Weddings. So I picked up this book first because because I saw it and I knew that it was from the author of Crazy Rich Asians, and I absolutely adore that movie. Like, it is one of my favorite movies. Anytime I'm on an airplane, anytime I'm sad, anytime I don't know what to watch, I will put Crazy Rich Asians because I just love it that much, and it breaks my heart every day knowing that they didn't immediately film the next movie, which I understand they weren't being paid fairly, as they should not continue, but nonetheless, I still want a piece of that world, and that is why I picked up Crazy Rich Asians, the novel. I did not see the best reviews on it, but again, I think I will really enjoy it and like it. I did end up picking it up, and this is actually a secondhand book. It does not look like that, but I got it for literally $8, which is an absolute steal, and I just know I'm gonna love this book, and I'm really also excited to pick this one up. I feel like it'll be a very fun summer read. I only have 2 more books left to share with you. The next is The Best Worst Thing. I saw Sarah Caroli give this a 5-star, and I have just continued to see more and more people read it and really enjoy it, especially because it's a little bit different than your typical rom-com kind of feel of a book. I think it just has a lot of real life questions and real life decisions that are hard to make and almost judge worthy, but somehow it is an enjoyable book. So I will definitely be picking this up. And last but certainly not least is The Favorites by Len Fargo. I had to pick this book up. I saw so many people talking about it, and then it came out in paperback, and I was like, okay, I will definitely pick it up. I know that it's about basically these 2 people that are ice skating, but I hear that it is very much a drama-filled world that I am totally excited to get into. So we will see how much I like it and if I go ahead and give it a 5-star. So that is everything that I purchased in the month of January. I have purchased a couple extra books before going on my official book ban because I wanted to stack up my 6-star shelf that I have recently created when I fixed up my shelves. And I had a couple books from my childhood that were definitely missing from that shelf, so I made sure to purchase those secondhand. And I also got a couple of other books. I did purchase another book from the same author of The Frozen River because I loved it so much. And then I also purchased 2 books from the same author as A Little Life, just because I feel like I really think about that book, even though it was really gut-wrenching. Because I think of it so much, I think I would really enjoy getting into more of the author's work. So really excited about those 3 books that are going to be coming soon. I really wanted to film this video because, of course, like, who doesn't love a haul, but also use these as recommendations for what you want to read this year. I typically do like a lot of research when it comes to finding new books because I just want to read something that's new and fresh. And most oftentimes, which is something that I'm trying to get away from, is I will look at ratings and make sure that they're like relatively okay. However, I have found that some higher rating books are not really it for me. So definitely take a look at what I have and consider this a opportunity for you to figure out what you want to read this year, because these are some pretty, I think, decent, well-rounded books. I'm really excited to add these to my collection of books, add them to my library, read them this year. My goal is to read 65 books. However, I'm going to try and push for more than that. So I hope that all of these books make it on my read for the year list. So thank you so much for watching and spending time with me while I show you some of the new books in my library. I will definitely be back with a February reading vlog. I'm doing pretty good on my TBR now, so I can't wait to bring you guys along the journey of what I read this month.